Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far. So today I want to talk to you about products that when I first purchased them, when I first reviewed them, when I first started using them, I loved them. I thought they were brilliant. I thought they were keepers. I thought they were great. And then as time went by, very quickly I stopped using them, abandoned them. They sat in my drawer for one reason or another. They were just a real flash in the pan. Loved it the first time I used it. As time went by, not so much. I feel like this is really important to reflect on because I know a lot of the time we make like rash decisions on products, and obviously for me it's different because I'm reviewing things, but for you guys, always get samples and use those samples a few times. If you have the opportunity to go and swatch things, play around with things, have things put on your face a few times, because like these products, if you go into a store, you use it once. In the UK we can't return things, so it's not like after a few uses I could go, oh, do you know, it's not for me, and send it back. I know in the US you can actually do that, which is amazing. We can't do it here. So yeah, you need to be sure, especially if you're investing a lot of your money, a lot of your cash, a lot of your hard-earned coins, we need to be sure it's going to be a long-term love affair and not a one-night stand like these things. So first up, we're going to be talking about the Huda Beauty Tantour. I like this. Kind of. I like how it looks when I get it right, but I find it trickier to work with than the other contour products I have. So I love my MAC Studio Perfecting Stick for contour. I love my Charlotte Tilbury contour wand for contour. Those are like the cream options. And I love powder contours as well. All of those very easy to work with. This one, for number one, I need a brush. I mean, look at the state of it. I feel like it gets really messed up as well. So I need to use like two different brushes to get this to work for me. One to apply it and another to blend it out. It also blends almost away, like it's like it blends too well. Do you know what I mean? Too well. So then it moves too much. So it's very tricky and it's very hard for me to keep it in one place, which you saw in my review. It was like I was blending it and it was just traveling too far up. Very hard, harder than the other cream contour products I have to keep it in your contour zone without it just being all over your whole face. So for that reason, for the reason that I have to pick up a brush, or at least one brush, maybe a sponge, maybe a second brush, to apply this, because I'm lazy and I'm generally in a hurry, and if I'm going to cream contour, that's already something that I'm usually too lazy to do. So I need it to not like take a while, to not have to get extra things, to not have to go and wash my sponge. Like, I need it to just be drawn on and buffed in and we're good to go. And I feel like this one's more problematic. So I barely have touched this since I first reviewed it. Another product I really liked when I first reviewed it, and this is the MAC Serenity Seeker Iridescent Powder from the Electric Wonder collection. Now I like this. This is called an iridescent powder, and it's kind of described as something that you would like buff all over your face, but obviously you could use it as a very soft highlighter as well. So what I've found with this is when I used the top layer of this in my review, it looked nice and glowy. The couple of times I've used it since then, I feel like now we're getting into like the nitty-gritty of the product. It's getting more and more glittery as we go down, and I'm just finding it's too glittery to use like all over my face. And as far as using it as a highlighter, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but it's got lots of sort of chunkier glitter particles in there. First few times I used it, the glitter, maybe it was my imagination, maybe I was just mistaken, my eyesight was having a moment, I don't know. But I feel like when I first used it, maybe because it was just the top layer was a little firmer, and I wasn't getting all that glitter pickup. But since then, it definitely has become a bit dustier in the pan as I'm getting into the product below. So I feel like, again, the top layer of this, not unusually for MAC, but the top layer of this was like what I wanted, and now we're getting down into the powder. It doesn't really serve any purpose how I want it to, other than it would be nice on the body. I will give it that. It would be really nice on like your shoulders and your cheekbones. These are not cheekbones, love. Collarbones. It'll be nice, but yeah. On the face, it's not really what I was hoping it would be. Next up, a love-hate affair with the Fenty Flyliner. I just feel like this dried out really quickly. When I first used this, I was like, yes, this is my answer to the Kat Von D Trooper liner, and I'm confused because when I do this, it looks perfect. It's nice and wet. But what I find when I'm trying to do a wing is it's perfect for the lid, the lash line. When I try and do my flick, I really want to use the very point, which is perfect as far as it's very, very nice and fine. It looks perfect for the flick, but it's like the product doesn't travel right to the end enough. So when I'm just trying to use the very tip to get that really fine flick of my wing, which I need it to be fine because hooded eyes, it just doesn't give me the product. And it doesn't matter what I do, and I do it on my hand, it's fine. When I try and get it onto my skin, and I am like, you know, tautening, I'm doing everything I should be doing, it doesn't want to leave any colour. It's just like it doesn't show up unless I'm using the thicker part of the tip. So that's really disappointing. I really loved it at first, but I feel like either the tip dried out, this is all just sounding really weird, or the product just isn't travelling to the end like it used to. It's just not like it used to. Yeah, disappointing because I feel like it could have been phenomenal. I love the formula. I think it's black, black, black. I love that. It's easy to use. It's the perfect like applicator and brush size and all of that stuff. But I can never get a really happy, fine little flick on the end, and it's really sad. I don't want to talk about it. Next up, the Marc Jacobs Shameless foundation. When I reviewed this, I loved this. I thought it was going to be the answer to all my natural, dewy, glowy, beautiful prayers. I had a really nice shade for me in my winter shade, which was Y270, obviously not right now. But in my winter shade, this is a really nice shade. I don't know what happened. I don't understand this foundation. I don't understand it. The first time I reviewed it, I loved it. It was amazing. It was beautiful. Then I started watching other people's reviews and everyone was having issues with it. And I was like, oh, like, I think, you know, it seems to be working perfectly for me. I had no issues. I loved it. Then it was like the third or fourth time I used it, it started happening to me. And what happens with this foundation is it's like it picks itself back up. Like as you're applying it, if you use a sponge, it's like you're putting it on and it's just not going into the skin. It stays on the top and then it's like it comes back off again. So you just end up with like patches. Oh, houlihan. So yeah, that is a problem. I've also tried it with a brush and it just never looks even and smooth. And it is now, I don't know what happened the first time. I've been using all the same products. I've tried the same primers. I've tried all different primers. It's not the primers, guys. It's this guy. It's just so unreliable and I can't take the stress. I can't tell you how many times I've had put this on and had to take it back off and put something else on. And I don't have time for that. I don't have time to be let down. I need reliable foundations. I can't be putting stuff on my face and then having to take it back off. And I've done that, wanting to wear this foundation, wanting to love it. I've put it on, like taken it off, thinking I've done something wrong, used a different primer, put it back on, it still looks terrible and patchy. And now I'm 20 minutes late, so I'm fuming. So I just can't recommend this anymore. It's too high maintenance, it's too fussy, it's too hard to use. It's very hit and miss, and it doesn't seem to matter what you do. It's just whether it's in the mood to be a good boy or not. And most of the time it's not. Similarly to this bad boy, and I'm so sad about this because I know so many people love this and it's their holy grail, and this is the CYO Lifeproof, Lifeproof Long Lasting Foundation. The first time I used this, I loved it. It was beautiful, glowy, smooth, healthy, fresh, natural, radiant. I think that's everything. I loved it. I thought it was really, really nice. The second time I used it, I went out for the day, came back in and was like, looked in the mirror and I was an absolute massive Oompa Loompa. And I did not put powder on it. People have said, oh, you know, it's powder that causes oxidization, because I know Wayne Goss mentioned this in one of his videos, but it's not always the powder. I don't powder my face barely ever unless it's like I'm reviewing a powder. So it wasn't that. And it obviously was like some kind of, whether it was like a more humid day, maybe I had like sweated more, or like the primer I'd use, I think I use the same primer, to be honest. I really only ever use my Tatcha now. So yeah, I've used it like a third time and it was okay, but honestly I can't risk looking like that again and not being aware, because it didn't, like when I put it on it was fine, and then it was obviously at some point during the day I became an absolute muppet and I had no idea. I was walking around looking ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I was on a day out with my kids, so it's not like they're gonna tell me, they wouldn't even noticed. But I mean, sometimes they come in when I'm in the bath with a face mask on, they don't even say anything, so that just says it all really. But yeah, embarrassing, and I just can't afford for that to happen to me. I can't afford to be played by my own face, you know, it's too high risk, it's too scary. I can't figure out why it's just doing it sometimes and not others, but I just honestly, I can't take the stress, can't take it, I don't need it. And I have heard that this foundation does oxidize a lot for some people and in some situations, so I know it's not just me, and yeah, I can't take the stress, to be honest. And anyway, it's been discontinued, so I'm happy we're moving on, because I can't afford to fall in love with something that's going to be taken away from me anyway, so yeah, we're going to be okay. And lastly but not leastly, this is the Benefit Goof Proof Brow Pencil. When I first got this, it's a little nub now, nearly all gone. So you see that slant on the applicator, that very sharp angled head there? When you first get a brand new one of these, the product is that sharp, and it is like a knife, and it allows you to carve your brow out with the product really, really beautifully and sharply and precisely, and it makes beautiful, precise hair-like strokes at the front of the brow as well. It is like a dream. But literally a few uses later, and you can see mine now, that is nearly all used up, is a sort of rounded tip, and that's how it's gone very, very quickly into a more rounded shape. And that is, I mean, it's okay, I can fill in my brow, but it's just nowhere near as good or as effective as that sharp angle was. It's supposed to have a sharpener inside, so apparently if you twist it back the wrong way, as if you're twisting it back inside the package, hear that? Eventually it will start sharpening itself, or so they say, so they claim. But I have to tell you, when I like wind it back up, literally not one thing has happened. Not one thing. It's still a rounded pencil. So yeah, it's still okay. I like the formula of it, but it's nowhere near as good as when it had the, you know. So there you have it. I'd love to know what you guys picked up and were obsessed with and loved on first or second try, and then quickly binned it off. I would love to know, because I hope this doesn't just happen to me. I'm sure it doesn't. I'm sure it happens to you too. Let us know in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I would love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.